Good afternoon, viewers. This is your captain speaking. First, I'd like to welcome everyone to the Travel Tribe channel. We are currently cruising with 7 live viewers and with expected comments reaching up to the higher teens. The time is 6 p.m. local time. The weather looks good, and with an expected tailwind of juicy travel advice, we are expecting to land right on schedule. The weather in Warsaw is clear and sunny with a high of 25 degrees for this afternoon. If the live stream cooperates, we should get a great view of both participants in their local cities. Our Travel Tribe crew will be coming into the chat room soon to offer you a witty gif, clever reply, or a value packed answer to any of your questions. Please shoot us a quick comment where you are tuning in from today so we can kindly welcome you to the Travel Tribe. Joining us today for our in flight live stream will be Sushi and Sambar, an adventurous duo who will be sharing their experiences of traveling the world for free, working on their careers while traveling, and the kindness of people. As they do, I kindly welcome you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the show. Hey guys, can you hear me?
Hello,
That's
that was
great.
fantastic. We loved it.
Wow, we landed, I guess.
Yeah, we're here. How are you
Great.
guys?
Good. Our
Good.
seatbelts
Thank
are
you.
on, so we are all ready to take off.
Fantastic. Where are you guys joining us from today?
So we are in the southern part of India, Kerala. Which is called the God's own country. So we are there.
Mhm. The God Zone country? Why is it called that?
I think the nice weather, good food,
Fantastic food and the
spice.
nature. It's full of mountains, lush green mountains, and so in fact we stay in a jungle here. We have our own farm surrounded by. We have our own private waterfall. So yeah, it's a God's own country.
That's so cool. And are you originally from there, or did you guys find this spot during your adventures?
I am from south of India. My place originally is from Bangalore, which is around 300 kilometers from here.
Hmm.
And
And I'm from Japan.
Hmm. That's
So
fantastic. So the sushi and sambar, I know which one sushi is. It's the Japan, right?
of course, in India, we don't
you
have
guessed
sushi.
it right.
That's fantastic. So sushi and sambar, tell me, how did the story start of sushi and sambar? Where is the inspiration for it?
Well, we both love food.
True. Maybe I think you should start from where we met.
Oh, well, we met. You said.
Uh, so we met in the Himalayas. So in 2012, so I was cycling, and
I was doing trekking.
Mhm.
so we happened to just cross each other, and we happened to be in the same cab. So
Mhm.
that's how our story begins. So then we were dating for maybe 2 years or so, and we traveled, and finally we got married.
Not 2 years. We are very quick. We are very quick
In getting married.
in
Okay, we
getting
were
married.
desperate, so I got married pretty
Very quick. It's just unbelievably quick.
quick. Oh yeah, I'm sorry guys.
Very cool.
Uh,
So
so
you guys got married, and then where were you guys living? In India, Japan, or the Himalayas still?
wish it was Himalayas. We were living in India itself in a city called Hyderabad.
Hmm.
But just when we got married, or maybe even yeah, while we were dating itself, we were already discussing about going around the world on a bicycle.
Hmm.
So so we were working towards that plan for close to a year and a half after
Hmm.
we got married. So saving money and making plan, creating a route, everything. So this was what was happening, and finally in 2016 January we kickstarted our trip.
Oh, that is fantastic. And just so I can get some ideas before you guys left, was there a certain amount of money you guys wanted to save before you left?
Yes, we were. So we knew the only thing we knew was it is going to be a budget trip. And so even when you say a
Mm.
budget trip, the standards vary at different levels. So what she initially thought what meant by a budget trip was, okay, staying in a not maybe a five-star hotel, maybe a
Guest
two-star
house,
guest houses, or one-star or two-star hotels, or
homestay.
worst come hostels. But my definition of a budget trip was camping every day. And when I say camping, not in a campsite, just knocking on someone's doors and asking if we can pitch our tent in their yard, or or sleeping in temples, even in police stations. And so this was my definition of a budget trip.
Oh,
So
that's so cool. Yes, we had a guest last week also who did this long trip as well, from Scotland to Africa, and he also was talking
Oh,
about
wow.
picking the right spots. He was actually talking about a couple dangerous situations he had in Egypt, but for the most part, he said he would just his instinct to find the best spots of where to stay. So that's pretty interesting. And where did you guys want to start? Where did you guys want to finish?
We started from Thailand,
Yeah.
like where you are.
You were.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So the initial plan that we had was we wanted to cycle from India via Myanmar, then go to Thailand. But unfortunately, we couldn't
Mhm.
cycle to Myanmar. The border crossing had a lot of hassles. We didn't want to fight with it. And luckily, there was a cheap flight from India to Thailand. So we thought, why not Thailand? The reason why we started Thailand was another reason was both our dream country was Iran, and we wanted to be in Iran
Mhm.
during the best seasons, and we started backtracking it. So if we want to be in Iran in the month of May, where do we start from? And it was luckily Thailand, so we started from Thailand.
Wow. So it started in Bangkok then, or Chiang Mai, or what city in Thailand?
Bangkok.
Bangkok.
Bangkok. Great way to
Mm.
start with a bucket on Khao San Road and ready to go. That's cool.
Exactly.
And so what was your route from Thailand then to get to Iran?
We started from Thailand, Laos,
Mhm.
Vietnam,
China,
China, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan,
Afghanistan.
Turkmenistan, and then it kind of gets fuzzy. We
Yeah.
entered Iran, then we came to Turkey, then we went
Then
to Georgia.
we wanted to go back to
We
Iran.
wanted to go back to Iran.
So
We
we
were so happy being in Iran. Then again we came to Iran, then Armenia, then again Georgia, then
then
Turkey.
Turkey. Turkey we went 3 times.
Three
Oh
times
wow.
Turkey, twice Iran, and twice
Twice
Georgia
Georgia, yeah.
and Armenia. And then we entered Europe from Turkey to Greece,
Greece,
Italy,
Italy,
France, and
Spain,
Spain.
and Portugal. That's the end of our journey.
Wow. So many
Like
It's kind of stuff.
preparation before it. How long did you guys plan to go for, and what kinds of things did you bring with you?
We didn't actually had a plan, no. Like it's a we ended like 1.5, but we could have carried
continued.
on, but then we decided to come back. So we didn't think about like it's how long.
Mhm.
So, but then our luggage has to be quite small because we were traveling by bicycle.
Folding bicycle.
Uh, so like we can't carry many stuff anyway. But half of his stuff was like a spice, like Indian spice, because like we have to cook for the guest. No, not
For
the
the
guest,
host.
host. Yeah, host. Because we are kind of staying with like the people's hospitality, so we wanted to do something. So
Mhm.
his luggage was like half of the stuff was spices, and then I carried a little bit soya sauce, and then the seaweeds, and then things like that.
Miso.
Miso. Maybe originally I think I had a little bit miso and all that. But yes, so and then the minimum clothing, and then like that.
Yeah, but the
Mm.
interestingly, we also carried the traditional Indian lungi, the dhoti, what you call it, and
Yeah, like a saloon.
kimono.
I was wearing yukata
Yukata, the Japanese.
and
This one.
obi and everything.
So the
Wow.
reason, the idea behind this was we couldn't carry any souvenirs for the guest whom we are going
No
to be,
host.
I mean, the host whom we are going to be staying with. So I think this was our way of telling thank you. Was we used to dress them like an Indian or a Japanese, sometimes both if they are a couple, and then we cook an Indian meal or a
Mm.
Japanese meal for them. That was our way of saying thank you.
Yeah. And that's so you guys were kind of like a moving restaurant, bringing all your spices with you and your culture. So you was kind of like you were giving the locals that you were visiting a kind of way for them to experience new culture, kind of travel without having to travel, if I'm understanding that correctly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. The idea was like we took pictures of them wearing the Indian and the Japanese attire. We wanted to send them those photographs at some point of time. It's still in the cards. We don't know when we are going to do it.
But we send the images, but not the
True.
actual
Not the
photos.
actual hard copy of the photographs, but we will surprise them
Mhm,
slowly.
mhm.
wow. So just so I can visualize this in my head, I'm just envisioning you like in the countryside of Kyrgyzstan or somewhere in Vietnam, and would you just rock up to a random house in your traditional outfits and saying, "Hey, this my like, can we just stay at your place?" Or how did you guys find and choose?
You
we
got to choose,
we didn't wear it though.
but you got to tell your first experience.
Yeah, but like it's what happened is that like when we say we are locking somebody's door, it's not we, it's me. I have to knock on the door, but, because like he said that like it's all people is gonna scared of me and so on. So you have to go and knock the door, and then so I'm the first one to say
Uh-huh.
hello. Like which it was terrifying for me to do that in the first house because I never done that, and then I don't know who lives there either. So but then the first house is when we
Thailand.
are actually cycling. I could see the beautiful big mango trees in front of the house in the countryside. And then one of my
Uh-huh.
dream is to sleep under the mango tree. So although I don't like it, I said to him that like I think we have to sleep there. So the first house we said like hello, hello, can we come and then pitch a tent and sleep one night? Tomorrow we are gonna cycle again. So like it's just everything with a gesture because
Yeah.
it's in the country. And then I said supplies, and then she said, yeah, okay, you can come. So we are not sure if it's like our communication is all right or not. So
Hmm.
before he said no, we just quickly pitch a tent so that she can't say no.
You can't say no.
Mhm.
Exactly.
That.
No, but she was extremely kind enough. In
Very
the
kind.
end, in the night, it was really cold. We were not prepared. We thought, okay, we are starting from a tropical country like Thailand, but actually, it was cold. And they took us inside. They said, better you come and sleep in my bedroom. So all the three of us, we slept together.
Yeah.
Hey,
And
not a bad invitation sometimes, right?
Oh, it was a
true,
wonderful,
it was
amazing.
true. And it kept happening throughout the journey
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
in
getting
everything.
better and better. So the first house, she actually let us stay inside her house. Then second one is getting like a dinner and then the barbecue and then come inside. And it just kept happening like that. And then
Big
the
upgrade, you
souvenir.
know.
Yeah.
Many houses they started giving us souvenirs, so all kinds of experience. And sometimes in a police station, sometimes they accept us as guests. It happened in Vietnam.
Hmm.
They said it was around 3:30, usually around 3:30 or 4 in the evening. We start knocking on the doors, asking. And usually, if I want to give a statistics, around 3 or 4 houses, one of them accept. And sometimes the very first house is ready to have us. And in Vietnam, this is what happened in a small village. The very first
Hmm.
house said, "Oh, you can come in," and they gave us a snack. And then they got the karaoke machine. We were all singing. Then they bought us beer and dinner. We were drinking.
Normally beer.
Yeah, no. And at 11 in the night, when we said we are really tired, we want to go and sleep, at that time they said, sorry, you can't sleep here, and we have to go take you to the police station. And at 11 in the night, the host was a bit tipsy, and even we are a bit tipsy. We were riding, and then we went to the police station. The police said, you're a tourist, and how can you stay in someone's house? You have to book the hotel. Being an Indian, it's a very
Hmm.
scary thing for me because I could be arrested anytime. So the moment the
Hmm.
police said, I was like more than happy. Okay, as far as he's gonna let me go and ask me to go and stay in a hotel, I'm happy. Immediately she says, sorry, we don't have money, we are not gonna stay in a hotel. I was like, what is she doing? She's gonna get me arrested. Then the police was like, you're a tourist. What do you mean you don't have money? And she's like, yes, we are cycling around the world, we don't have money. Finally, the police asked, "So what do you want to do?" And immediately we said, "How about we pitch our tent in the police station?" And we literally
Oh my
pitched the tent in front of the commissioner's room and we slept. It was really good. We had full protection and security while we were sleeping. And
Yeah.
morning, the police woke us up with green tea.
That's so cool. And just so I can, I'm kind of curious. Was there like a strategy that you would go to, like picking where you wanted to stay? Were you guys like looking for the nice gated communities, or just kind of all random by choice once 3 or 4 o'clock hit?
It, it's more like it's not like a gated community. I think we can't go to the gated community. If
True.
it's a gated community, they will say no before enter the community.
Yeah.
It's like in the countryside when we see somebody who we can talk to
Looks
behind the gate,
friendly.
and
Mhm.
then there's a kind of big garden or like a garage where we can really actually pitch a tent. And when we see the person who looks quite like not suspicious, so like it's a like a friendly family, then we will say like a hello with a smile.
Especially if they seem to be like more than in their late 60s or early 70s, definitely we would go because a couple of reasons. We can try their food. We definitely know that they're fantastic cooks and they're going to give us a fantastic dinner and breakfast. So that is target. But once we did go to a gated community on a last day in Thailand. So it was in the
I
city. I forgot the name of the Nong Khai. I'm not sure.
It's
So
a border with Laos.
the last day, it was near the next day is going to be Laos. It was near the Mekong River. We did go to a gated community, and it was like a huge family staying in different cottages, and they couldn't understand what we were trying to say. And they, when we asked them, okay, if we can pitch the tent, they gave her the phone. They called someone and asked, gave her the phone, and someone on the other end said, "Oh, you can come and sleep in my office." So what we thought was, okay, one of the family member has an office and we are going to sleep in his office. He asked us to follow him. We followed him. Actually, then we realized he had actually called the tourist information center, and the lady on the other end of the phone was from the tourist information center. And it was so sweet that instead of asking us to go and book a room in a hotel, she said 5 o'clock they are going to close the office, and after 5 we could pitch our tent, and the entire tourist information center was kind of our own personal space.
And then they have a fountain and then the bathroom and then everything. This is a
Wow.
beautiful information center. We could actually really pitch
True.
a tent, but we didn't.
Exactly. She welcomed us with coffee and cookies, and so it was wow.
That's interesting. So it sounds like you guys had a lot of examples of like human compassion and kindness
Oh
throughout
yeah,
your journey.
definitely.
Wow.
Every day.
Hmm.
So of the 500 days that we were on the road, we stayed in a hotel maybe 2 or 3 times, I think, maybe 5 times max. And that too, it's not because we couldn't find people, it's just because for some other reason. For example, in Uzbekistan,
Mm.
you have to stay in a hotel because you get a seal on your passports, which you
Hmm.
need to show when you're visiting. And the funny thing was, even in Uzbekistan, we booked a hotel and we used to sneak out and stay in someone's house.
We did some
Couch
couch
surfing,
surfing, yeah,
couch surfing in Uzbekistan.
because we wanted to actually try to know their local people, so we tried to find their,
True.
you know.
Wow, that's such a cool and inspirational story. And were there any kinds of bad experiences during these requests or asks?
Mm, That's the funny thing. It's like a 1.5. We never had the bad experience, like especially with the people. Never, never.
Never with the people. So it is like, uh, you know, even the one who used to reject or decline, they were extremely sweet. They used
Mhm.
to say, "Hey, you know what? We are really sorry, but why don't you try in that house?
You can't stay, but then come and stay with the chess.
Let's play chess."
Play chess. So like he has to like a kind of Chinese chess, and he doesn't know the rules, but then he has to kind
Oh,
of
that was
play the chess in
yeah, yeah,
Vietnam.
in Vietnam. Again, that was in Vietnam. So one guy said, "You can't stay, but we can play chess and we can have tea." I don't know the rule of the game, and he was playing, and And every time after a couple of minutes, he used to say, okay, you lost, I won. I was like, okay, sure, I don't know the rule of the game and you're playing with me, fine. This was one. And yeah, and for example, in Iran, right, entire Iran, like first time when we went Iran, we don't know anything about that country, like most of them don't know. And it's like in Iran, I can blindly say that you can literally knock on anyone's house
Mm.
and you can stay anywhere you want. You're going to get the best hospitality. That's why the second time when we went Iran, we didn't take any money with us. It was literally $0. We
But
traveled
we took just a little bit money, not for us to use, but if you want to do for somebody who is
to
kind,
help
and
or
then
something. We
yes,
just took
then
that
we took
$10
a
or
little bit.
$15
Yeah,
as a
but
this one, and we traveled. Like in Iran, the kind of hospitality that we received was if you just put our fingers out to hitchhike, three or four cars are gonna stop, cars and the truck drivers,
so
and they
we
fight among themselves that
so we
who's gonna pick us.
so we had to choose. It's a very different from other countries. It's just
It's
True,
very
and
different from
they don't
America,
take you.
where they would be
like,
picking
Oh,
which driver wants to like hit you.
totally. And they don't take you to the destination that you want to go. They take you to their family.
yeah.
And in the evening, their extended families, like close to 20 people, are waiting to see you with souvenirs. This was like extremely surprising. This
Yeah.
happened in Iran, where we went to a random house, knocked on the door. They said we could sleep in the tent, pitch our tent in their
Yeah.
garage. Then that evening, we said, okay, let's go for a picnic. And when we go for a picnic in their garden, close to 20 people,
Yeah.
their extended family members have come to meet us with souvenirs.
And the food,
Right?
like a
Lots of food.
Wow.
big party every
Big
day
party
in
every day
Iran.
in Iran.
Especially people in Iran loves picnic. So like when we are cycling, when we see the spot of like a small green patch, everybody's doing the picnic. And then in the car, like they always have like picnic set. And then
Wow.
wherever they go, they can have a quickly have their tea and then biscuits. And then every car has this set. So so like when we are cycling, there's a car stop and then there's a food comes from the window. Sometimes could be rice, could be ice cream, or could be nuts.
Oh, yeah, all
So
the time.
it's just like it's like that. So
Wow.
we loved cycling, but at the same time we loved the hitchhiking in Iran.
Iran.
It's
The,
just
the best thing
amazing.
about hitchhiking is the truck drivers are
Yeah.
so friendly and amazing. As she
Mhm.
mentioned in Iran, so when every time we are cycling, someone gives food, someone gives ice cream, and it went to such an extent that we couldn't eat so much. We ended up giving up to others.
Wow, that's a very uplifting. I heard that actually the culture in Iran is very hospitable. From some of my friends who've been there as well. Were there any other countries that also kind of surprised you by the level of hospitality and generosity towards other humans?
Actually, it's every
Every
country like
country.
that. Every
Mm.
country. It just Iran was a like an
Extreme.
extreme, but
Yeah.
every country,
Uh-huh.
even in Europe,
Oh, even in Europe.
every
That's the
country.
funny thing. Every country we go, they say that we are the most hospitable country and our neighborings, you got to be careful. Every country we go, you know, but the French France was
They're
the
so
only
funny.
country.
They are very
They're
funny.
extremely friendly and hospitable, France.
Uh-huh.
And they were the only country who said, oh, our neighbors are extremely hospitable, but we are not. But in
Wow.
reality, even they were equally hospitable.
Yeah, it's actually especially the south part of France. It's actually amazing. It's although they said we are not friendly like Spain or Italy, but then they are, and
Mhm.
then in fact that the old ladies they always like come and they have an orange or like they're always
Have
kind of
breakfast, yeah.
interested in us, and then as the first female person to
Whom
stop
we
the
hitchhike.
car with the
Wow.
Wow.
dance. It's like a 2 or 3 times of actually the woman stop to give us
Wow.
lift. And
Mhm. And
Yes.
while we're talking about Iran, we had a question here from Amadek who was asking, what do you recommend to do when you visit Iran, and what is the best season to go?
best season.
Oh, this is good. We went in the month of May, which
May.
was first time when we went. It
It's a
was
beautiful.
fantastic,
Not too hot.
not too hot. Definitely one of the first things I would recommend personally. I don't know about you. You can
It's a,
is hitchhike. Definitely,
but
definitely
no,
hitchhike.
but I think it's depend if it's like, for example, personally, if it's just on my own, I want to, just in case,
Mhm.
I want to.
But I would, I would definitely
No,
recommend hitchhiking.
I mean, like it's you as a man, yes,
Yeah.
but then me as a woman, I don't think I will do if I'm on my own.
Okay.
Mhm.
I
Just for the I
safety,
might do, but I don't recommend.
but
But it's
yes,
just because I will do probably, but then I can't recommend the other woman to do it.
Yeah.
Just
sure.
for
Okay,
the
that is one. So we have different perspectives here. Then to see every city in Iran has its own charm, and the mountains, right from the extreme east, which is the Isfahan to Shiraz to uh, Tehran. We didn't go. We didn't
no, we
visit
didn't go.
Tehran because it was the capital.
Mhm.
To Tabriz, definitely the bazaars.
And Kilimanjaro, I guess,
Kermanshah, which is the Kurdistan side of Iran,
that's also beautiful.
beautiful. Every city has a bazaar and must
Yeah.
visit.
It's just the things like I didn't realize it actually. I saw the map, but then I didn't realize how big. It's the same as like it's India is a big. So
Mhm.
like it's different parts of Iran. It's just different. So it's a scenery. It's a different. It's just, so the few places I almost felt like it's like a Ladakh in India. Like a mountain is more like a sand
Himalayas.
kind of. It's a
Mhm.
beautiful pastel color of mountains. But the other side of mountain is more like a green, like a Kashmir or somewhere,
True,
more like a European mountains. So
true,
it's like it depend on where you are. It's just completely different
different.
scenery, and then the architecture is amazing. It's beautiful
Yeah.
And
architecture.
extreme intellectuals, the people, the level of, or at least the depth of
Mm.
the conversations that you're going to have with them. They are either interested in poetry or
Music,
philosophy or music. Almost, I think they're gifted. Everyone sings. In
yeah, and then
all the truck drivers,
there's a
they used to entertain
yeah,
us.
yeah. And then play instrument, and it's just like a truck driver, is so intellectual. So it's very
Uh-huh.
interesting people to have a conversation with.
True. And the reason why, that's the reason why I said hitchhiking is a must, especially with truck drivers,
Mm.
because it's like going in a business class in a flight. They welcome you inside. The truck is so clean. They have
Clean.
amazing carpets inside. Once you get in, they make tea for you. So you are literally sipping tea, and you have this beautiful view in front of you.
And then the
It's,
dry
and they
fruits,
give
and
you dry
then
fruits, and sometimes they bring ice
pistachio
cream.
coming.
It's like you are being served every 2 or 3 hours. And
Wow.
even Turkey was a bit similar,
Yeah,
I would say.
Texas.
Not as
Mhm.
much as Iran, but I think the
Yeah.
next most hospital was definitely Turkey.
Okay. And did you have a chance to go to Georgia as well?
Yes. Oh, it's a
Yes.
beautiful country as well. It's a
Mhm.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I've also heard that the people are extremely hospitable there as well. They take it sort of very ingrained in their culture.
Yes.
Absolutely. That's right. In fact, the funny thing was, she doesn't need a visa to Europe, but I need a visa to go to Europe. And so we stayed with one family, a Georgian and a British couple, for almost 2 months in Georgia, just in that house. And it went to an extent where we were taking care of the house. They were not there for a week or 10 days,
2 weeks.
two
Two
weeks,
weeks.
right?
Two
Two
weeks.
weeks.
They had
And
to go back to England. Yeah.
England. So we were staying, and the beauty of Georgia is every house, most of the houses has a cellar, and they hide their wine in huge barrels.
It's not high. They are
they,
fronted.
they flaunt, they flaunt. Oh yeah, that is one thing we didn't know about in Georgia. Like taking wine to someone's house as a souvenir can be
Mhm.
sometimes considered offensive. You're kind of insulting them. Hey, you know what? Your wine is not good. That's why I'm bringing wine to your house. This was a bit strange because everyone makes their own wine. They're so passionate about the wine
Yeah.
culture,
Yeah.
and they drink
Wow.
a
They
lot.
drink a lot. Yeah.
They
In
live
Georgia.
life king size.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were there any other cultural misunderstandings you guys had, or any things that happened by accident that you guys didn't even realize? For example, like this Georgian wine, with the
Or
bringing the wine to
for
guests.
us in Georgia, the example you can think of something definitely, but for me it was Georgia's. The host whom we were staying with, we know that people drink. Sometimes, you drink till late night.
Mhm.
But this was the first time the family whom we were staying with, the wife left. She had to go to Azerbaijan on a
Wife is
business trip.
from the
She's
London.
from
No, not
London.
Mhm.
So
UK.
she had to go to Azerbaijan for a business trip for a week, or I think 3 or 4 days. The moment she left, the friends of the husband came over immediately,
Three or four
three
people.
or four, and they said, and they started drinking. They asked us to join. We sat 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. We thought, okay, it's gonna end sometime. It has to. And I thought, then uh, we said good night and we went to sleep. When we came back in the morning, they were still drinking. They continuously drank for 3 days.
It's
And
like
it's
parents out of town.
Exactly. And like two people are drinking, one goes and he sleeps for a couple of hours and he comes back and they start drinking. And the funniest thing was, in every time you drink, when you pour a drink, you have to toast for
Uh-huh.
someone. Just imagine, if you're drinking for 3 days, whom would you toast to? You're kind of exhausted.
they're very creative.
They are extremely creative. They toasted for the people whom we are going to meet in future on our road during our journey, the people whom we have met in the past, someone whom they met when they were drinking in a bar when they were kids. It was like, and their grandfather, their grandmother. Oh my God, this was amazing. That was the biggest cultural shock
It
for
was
me.
it was funny.
Cheers! Cheers to the grass. Cheers to having
Cheers to
cell phone
the
service
It's
today.
exactly. And it's not, the funny thing is, it's not just cheers, it's, you really got to
it's kind
toast. You
of
have to make a speech.
Wow.
So
That-
someone made a speech and a toast for you as well, Jordan, from
oh,
Georgia.
thank you. I appreciate that. So, can you tell me a little bit? I know one of the things you guys did was you traveled a couple of countries together, together: Georgia, Turkey, Iran, and Armenia for $0. Can you kind of walk me through like the day to day of how that looked?
In fact, the entire trip was kind of $0.
mm,
And
mm,
so you want
mm.
to explain our day, a typical day, how it would
It's
be?
like because we are cycling. Like we start very early in the morning. We actually start like 8. No,
Mhm.
Seven,
8
it
the
depends which,
latest. I
yeah.
think 7, 8. Like we start cycling, and then it's
And most of the times, even before, when we start
mm,
cycling itself, the family would have given us breakfast
if
Wow.
we stay here
if we
somewhere.
stayed, whomever we stayed with, or
Yeah,
sometimes they don't.
yeah.
So even if they don't, we have some stuff in our bag which some family would have given. Like sometimes they give you a huge bag of nuts or dry fruits, so it's always there for your energy. So food is kind of most of the times taken care.
Wow. Okay. And then how?
And
And then how long would you guys bicycle for?
So, but like the things like so when we are tired, we stop, have a chai or like have a water or like have a snack, and then like
Mhm.
I need some kind of reward. So he normally said like if we go up, if we go on top of that hill, you can have a break. Then I'm okay. So I'm gonna cycle. Then it's like that. It's kind. It's not like a speedy kind of the cycling. Like we are quite slow because of
Mhm.
me. So it's about maybe if it's like 100 kilometers per day, if it's a straight, if there's like a difficult route, maybe 30 to 40 kilometers. But then we always finish by 4 o'clock because we had to find a
find a
place
place to pitch
to
our
pitch
tent.
a tent.
I think
Mhm.
one day in Laos where we got lost on the mountains, literally literal mountains, no civilization, nothing. So we got lost almost for 3 or 4 days, I think 4 days at a stretch. So that was the hardest part for us, where we were really struggling for food, and because you don't have shops, you don't have any supermarkets.
And then when we thought that
Mhm.
like we were on top of the mountains, it's actually another mountains waiting for you, kind of.
And there is no, it's not
Illusion.
even a, it's just muddy road for 3 days. You're covered with mud, no food, extremely frustrating. The climate, sometimes it starts raining, and all of a sudden you come into a tribal village. You see grandma smoking weed and staring at you, like those cannibal movies. First time when you see that.
Yes.
That's how I thought, but they were extremely sweet. But
And
that's kind of the beginning of our trip. We have just spent 15 days in Thailand and entered Laos, and this is what we go through. It was a bit scary. Then you try to you understand them. Oh, they are kind.
It was actually when you think about it, quite nice villages. It's
Hmm.
like I felt like it's I never had the war experience, but I felt like it's oh maybe like after World War II, maybe it's a bit like that in the village in Japan. It's just like the small children's looking after other child, and then and it just kind of felt like
Yeah.
it's a very nice village. It's just very different from the city.
True.
Yeah.
This was in
That's
Laos, yeah,
that's
yeah. So typically, it varies. To answer your question, we start by around 7:30 or 8 in the morning, and we ride, we take sufficient breaks, and sometimes we don't go the next day at all. Sometimes we are like parasites. They are like, okay, can we stay one more night? And they are extremely excited. Sure, why not? You can stay with us. So this is how we take it very light.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
Good.
very
And we have a
our trip
question
was
here.
very peaceful.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
No,
So we
sorry.
have a,
It's our
we're like lagging
it's
over.
a good
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
We have a question here. It says, "Hi, Sunil. Do you remember with how many families you stayed in your entire journey? And if you have anywhere where you can share some of the photos of your journey, where people can find them."
We would have, I think, easily. I think once we counted, it's close to 150 families or something.
Wow.
Approximately
yeah.
that we stayed, and all our photos are on our Facebook page, Sushi and Sambar page. Every single hostess photo. So,
Wow.
and I think the total truck drivers, when we counted, it came up to 90 odd something approximately, and I think the total families we stayed was around 150.
Wow, that's plenty of them. And do you still stay in contact with them every once in a while, or?
Ye- yeah, we do.
Absolutely, we
Yeah.
do. We keep chatting with them. Especially the good thing about Facebook is it throws up these memories, right? So either they comment on those or we share it with them, telling, hey, you know what, 5 years back, this is where we were in your house, and thanks for the hospitality. And we keep asking them to come over and stay with us. We want to have the opportunity to host them, and we did, in fact. Couple of them in whom we met on the road, they came and stayed
Yeah.
with us
Mhm.
in India. So that's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, that is nice. And I had a guest from Pakistan on the show a couple months ago, actually, and he was talking about how, for some of these people, especially in villages who do not have the financial resources to travel, for them, it's honestly such a blessing that they can get to experience a new culture, whether it's Japanese or Indian, and hear about your stories or see what you eat or have some of your spices on your moving restaurant. That it's a way for them to travel without ever having to leave their house. So that is a big win-win from this situation. And I also wanted to ask you, because it sounds like a phenomenal journey and you've met so many people throughout the journey. There was a TED Talk involved somewhere here. How did that happen?
No, that's
That was in Armenia.
Mhm.
So, while we were traveling, so somehow, I don't know how it's a long story, how
yeah.
we got
I think
connected.
maybe because the initially our TED talk supposed to be in Iran
True,
happened.
true. That's right. We were
Yeah.
actually, second time when we were coming to Iran, there was already one organizers had arranged our TED Talk in Iran. So we went to Iran. So the plan was, okay, we are going to go to Iran with $0 and go give our TED Talk. And when we were in Iran, the Armenian, the TEDx Erawan invited us to talk about our
Mhm.
journey. So they were also, kind of excited to see that, okay, these couple are staying with families without any money. But unfortunately, the last minute, the Iranian government said foreigners cannot come and talk in our country.
So it
Mhm.
So,
didn't happen.
so the Iranian TEDx did not happen, and then we thought, okay, fine, still let's go. So let's hitchhike back to Armenia now.
Mm.
So our journey, the way it happened was extremely funny. In one day, we hitchhiked 3 countries to come to Iran. We were in Georgia. Then from Georgia, we
Turkey.
hitchhiked to Turkey. Then from Turkey, we hitchhiked almost 900 kilometers to come to Iran.
Wow.
So, and that was the first time, the person who was giving us the ride, the longest ride, he was a manager in a hospital in Turkey, the border of Iran. And he said, you guys, I have a luxury VIP maternity ward. You can come and sleep in the
So we
maternity.
post in a maternity kind of VIP room.
So yeah, we slept in the maternity ward, and early morning a nurse came with the maternity breakfast. Usually they give for the pregnant woman. Fantastic. So, and then we came to Iran, and then unfortunately the event was cancelled. But still, it was good. In a way, we could travel Iran for another 30 days with $0. We made the $0 documentary, and then came to Armenia.
Armenia. So that was a good
That
actually.
was, in fact, Armenia was kind of not in our plan initially. And because of this TEDx, it happened and
And
was
it was
such a beautiful
amazing
country.
country. It,
Oh
it
my
was
God,
a
it was
beautiful country.
Hmm.
Nice people, lovely
extremely
people.
intellectuals. And if you want to see, how, what were the intellectuals doing during the Soviet time,
Hmm.
Armenia is the best. The kind of artists they have, and they have their own unique art and everything. It's a beautiful and one of the best wine.
Yeah. That's great. And what was your TED Talk about? And did you have any kind of special preparation before giving the speech?
TEDx, you were the
Yes.
she was the author or the writer of the TED Talk, so you gotta.
No, the things like we like initially we had the different kind of the materials because he's
Mhm.
supposed to give the TED talk and then I supposed to give another one. Like we both had a different topic in Iran, but then
Mhm.
in Armenia we supposed to give only one. So we decided that our my topic was about the golden heart on the road, which is kind of relevant to this trip. So like it's we decided to do it together with the material which I was preparing for it. What was good is that like it was actually saver for me. It's because I'm not good at talking anyway, so I don't want to give the talk, and then I have a very bad memory as well. So when I'm preparing it, and then the organizer said that you can't have a cue card, and I said, it's impossible, like it's impossible. But I was still preparing, like it's in Iran, like every day I was kind of like try to memorize and everything. It's just so difficult. And then I said, when I kind of suddenly that we decided we are going to do it together, I said, it's amazing. That's great because he's got amazing memory as well. So like he's gonna be like a cue card for me.
Sure.
And he's amazing. He's just very good. So it was good.
True.
It's good because it's our story. It's not
Mm.
although I kind of wrote it, but it's
In
our
fact, it's
story.
not
So it
even
was
our
good.
story; it's the people's story.
Yeah.
If we both were clear on the message that
Mhm.
we want to communicate to the world, is it's every day the moment you switch on the TV or read the newspaper, you just want to, it makes you feel that you live in a very bad society or a very bad
Mhm.
world, but that's definitely not true. It's so untrue. When you go out and meet, it's like we live in such a beautiful world, and
Mhm.
why do we get to listen to this crap all the time? So ours
I
was okay,
know.
this is what our experience is, which was totally different from what you see in the media, and we wanted to tell that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's great. Yeah, I had a chance to see it today, and it was that was a really beautiful TED talk you guys did. And I had another question. I know that we kind of discussed this earlier. You had some kind of terrorist encounter. Can you tell me a little bit about that story?
oh, that
Yeah.
was
It's but there's a terrorist. We have to clear that what kind of terrorist is
okay. It
it?
was the Kurdish, the Danish, So, so just to give a background, so when we were in Turkey, we had all kind of incidents happen when we were in Turkey.
I don't know if you remember that a particular year, there's a lot of blast happening in Turkey,
Mhm.
happened in France, in Belgium. That particular year
It
had a
was
lot.
2016 or 17, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, 16 or 17. Yeah, I'm not sure. So when we were in Cappadocia, there was a huge bomb blast in the Ataturk airport in Istanbul, and then so everything shut down. We were like, okay, it was
Mm.
kind of becoming uneasy. And that time, the ISIS had said that they were going to be targeting Japanese, Japanese community, etc. So then, after Cappadocia, when we went to the Black Sea area, where we were staying with two young girls. So at that time, there was another incident. A coup
Cool.
happened in Istanbul. Part of the army went and captured. So again, this time what happened was everything was shut down. The entire world was noticing. So our families were messaging us saying,
Can you go back to Iran?
go back to Iran, Turkey is unsafe. And, like even the two girls whom we were staying with, they were extreme conservatives, very conservative. And when they got to know, they got scared. Like, oh my God, it's when the army goes and captures, they are gonna kind of target the conservative people. Maybe we need to hide the Quran and
Mhm.
etc. So this was the environment on that day. Then we went to the border of Georgia, and we told our families and everyone, telling, hey, you know what, we are in the safest part of Turkey now. It's a small village called Matka, and next day we are going to be in Georgia, so nothing to worry. And this family whom we stayed with, they said, next day morning we are going to take you out to show some UNESCO World Heritage Monastery. We were excited. And next morning we come down, they are all silent. And we asked what happened, and they said no, actually six terrorists killed three policemen in the same street where they live. They all heard the gunshots, and they asked us not to leave the house and
Because
stay here.
terrorists are still around.
Yeah, the terrorists were still in the wild, so the cops had not caught them yet. Unfortunately, their house didn't have a Wi-Fi, and I had an important business meeting to attend that the same day. So I thought, okay, maybe I know I could go to a nearby hotel to use their internet. It was that entire village just has one street, and this one hotel on the street had this internet cafe. And so I was sitting and taking a call, and she accompanied me. I told her, please go back home and don't roam around. I know her. She wants to explore the markets, go and taste the food, etc. But while I was watching through the window from the cafe, I could see her. She didn't go home. Instead, she went towards the market. After 5 or 10 minutes, I see a huge army tanker pass by. And in the next 5 minutes, there are close to 50 or 60 people who have kind of gathered. And they're all targeting a building right in front of me. The first thing that kind of stuck my head was maybe they have taken her as a hostage. She and I I was literally on the call that time. I told my clients that sorry, I need to drop off. I had tears in my eye, and I go inside. I kind of go through the crowd and ask people what's happening through gestures. Is it a Japanese? Any terrorist? And they all say Danish, Danish, which is the terrorist, the Kurdish terrorist. Danish, Danish. And when I go, they had just caught one terrorist like 5 meters from me. The first time in my life I see a terrorist who's that close, and they had just caught him, and the second one was right there. But I still can't find her. And then I just go a bit more further on in one sweet shop. She's peacefully been she's eating baklava with ice cream, and the first thing she says, I was so angry, I was so scared. The first thing she says is, darling, you should try this baklava, it's amazing. And at that time, she has been seeing the entire incident. She has seen the terrorists, she has seen the huge army tankers, everything, enjoying the baklava. So this was one of the terrorists.
That's
uh,
that sounds like a very scary situation. Turned funny, turned angry.
it's true.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
she was angry. Oh.
I was. It took a while for me to calm down.
Wow, that is a very crazy story. Um, you also mentioned that you were doing business meetings during this, and so one thing I know we wanted to discuss was you recommended that, or you wanted to discuss was not stalling or putting your career on hold while traveling. Would you mind telling us a little bit more about that?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. If beginning of the trip, I wouldn't have made the statement, but now after the tour, I can definitely say, many people will be surprised. In fact, if I take my professional career before the trip and after the trip, I have grown much faster in my career,
Mhm.
be it my designation or the monetary benefits or in every single aspect. So the common myth that people have is, okay, if you take a gap year in between while during your profession, it's gonna slow down your progress, professional progress, which is not true in my case. And the
Mhm.
reason is because I didn't show my in my resume, I didn't show those 2 years as a gap year. Instead, what I did was, I'm predominantly into innovation consulting and quality and etc. Through my journey, I through the trip, I started through LinkedIn and other professional channels. I started connecting with people, telling them, hey, you know what, I can come and consult your company, or I can share my knowledge, or you can share your knowledge with me. We can publish papers together. We can keep on collaborating. And with every country or every city we traveled, I made sure that either work with the university, give few lectures over there, or attend seminars. Yeah, and conduct a lot of workshops and help companies consulting. Now, just imagine after the trip, my CV says that I have consulted in close to 20 odd countries, and I have given lectures and taught students and conducted workshop in at least 5 to 10 countries, both in Europe and Asia, which means I have a huge cross-cultural mix. I work with different cultures, different environments, different industries, and companies would love to grab such employees. If I have to hire someone, definitely I would go for it, because he has seen the world and he knows
Mhm.
how different organizations work. You bring in huge value to the organization that you're going to work.
Yeah,
So yeah.
that's great. I was just going to add also two other things is like one, of course, the network of people you are meeting from all over the world. You never know when in the future some kind of opportunity might come up where they'll contact you to collaborate or on some project.
True.
And the second thing I was thinking about, it really kind of visiting different countries and different cultures gives you a different perspective on how things operate, a completely different way of a system that works where, you can start taking pieces that you think are, really beneficial or are really cool or innovative and bringing it back to your own culture or somewhere else, which, that you would never have seen because you're so used to living in your own little, world or bubble. But when you go outside of it, you start seeing new ways of thinking.
Absolutely. You're right on. For example, just to give the kind of clients that I met, one was municipality of Iran. You
Mhm.
know, how does the government of Iran function, right? Everyone is curious, everyone wants to know. It's a closed country. And on the exact contrary, some of the huge corporations in Spain are some of, and for example, United Nations public sector's sister concerns. For example, in Greece, I was working with the public sector companies who do the tax for some of the United Nations. So how do they function? So it's a huge variety of private sectors, public sectors. It's a huge, and the knowledge that you gain is fabulous. And you made another very interesting point, Jordan, is on the kind of contacts and the networking.
Mhm.
So after my trip, within 2 or 3 months, I was invited again in Greece for a seminar. So another opportunity to travel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe
Right.
you
So,
did the
oh
you
yeah, and
yeah.
and the biggest asset I would say is through this trip, I could publish a book related to my subject. And the publishers are more than happy to publish this, and they were eager because of the kind of vast knowledge that it would bring across countries.
Mhm.
So, and so when I had that in my CV, that again adds a huge value to your professional career.
Yeah,
So
of course.
everything was position it. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Now, instead of just thinking about, one country's market, you can start thinking kind of like a global market and how to appeal to it. So that's very nice. So we're gonna kind of slowly wrap things up here. So I'm kind of wanting to kind of get a little bit reflection on the whole trip. So how long was your trip overall, and kind of what were the lessons that you learned while reflecting on it afterwards?
Sure. The trip was for
Yeah.
500 days, exact to be precise.
Mm.
And you wanna how do you reflect? You wanna go
You
first?
start, you start.
Okay. For me, okay. For me, it was definitely the people. Uh, Definitely, we want to do this kind of a trip again. Uh, we live in a beautiful world, and traveling through the kindness of people is something everyone has to experience it.
Mhm.
And that's when we really start appreciating the little things and that we are surrounded with, which is kind of neglected at this point of time.
Yeah,
And
very.
after such a trip, you always kind of start noticing it. Oh, if not, you wouldn't, if not, it kind of becomes a norm. But once you do such a trip, you notice those minute details, the good things in people around you. That is how I would reflect it.
I think it's the same, but I think if I can add a little bit, is that there's something like this kind of trip actually change yourself as well a little bit. Like you actually discover yourself. How what you can do. How you feel, how you reflect to the others, and then what you can bring to the others, how you receive the others, and then it's our
True.
relationship also maybe
True. You're
getting
a change person,
yeah.
because
Mhm.
the reason is there is a interesting reason for that, because you have been pushed to something that you have never been in.
Mm.
So that's when you really got to be, you start being innovative, creative. You're
Mm.
in an uncomfortable situation and you start finding comfort in that,
Yeah.
and you accept the situation. That is what.
And I think what this kind of the trip was good is that there's no plan, so we are always flexible. So which means like we are ready to try to take risks, and then we are kind of willing to have the completely different things, and then
True.
it's always interested to meet the new peoples, and then it's just amazing.
Always
So,
curious what's next.
Yeah. Very, very, very beautiful. And the last thing I'm going to ask you is, I have some friends, that are like, oh, I don't have enough money to travel or something like this. If you were going to give some advice to anybody who was looking to take a similar trip, is there any kind of tips or recommendations you would give in hindsight now that you guys have done this 500 day trip, other than hitchhiking with truckers for upgraded business suites in Iran?
Oh, absolutely. So the first thing I would say is, definitely the trip will not go as per your plan, but still plan.
mm,
Know how the especially
mm,
with someone, with a country like India, where the passports are extremely stringent. You need to get a visa. So plan in advance how your visas, everything is going to work. Try to find sponsors. If you try, you would definitely, for example, for us in our case, though I wouldn't call it as a sponsor, we were practicing in a big bicycle, but we never thought that one of the best bicycle companies in UK, Bromptons, would be ready to give us a big discount because we were doing this kind of a trip. Always don't be scared, ask. Every time we wanted to do something, we asked. If you want to go and sleep in someone's, okay, you don't be scared of rejections, just go and ask. Same with the connections. You
mm.
ask 10 or 20 people, sell your skills. Definitely there is a job for you in every country that you go,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
there is
yeah.
an opportunity. And even if not monetary, it could be like they might give you space to sleep, they might give you food, or they might give you experience that can go into your CV. So that really adds value, and it's a huge indirect benefit that comes to you.
And then couch surfing,
Couch
warm
surfing.
shower, and this kind
Couch
of thing.
surfing request. Please don't write requests, because even we used to receive such requests and even we didn't know about it. When you're asking someone for
Mm,
to host you, explain yourself, make
mm,
yourself interesting, and let it be very humble and genuine,
mm,
so that gives you chances of being accepted.
Mhm.
Always carry a smile. It makes it makes you less scary.
Yes, I agree. Well, very good. Thank you for all those good, juicy tips and tricks for traveling discounted. We promised at the beginning that our flight was going to have a lot of those good, juicy details. And there you go. You guys so beautifully and eloquently summarized all of that. We do have a question here from Yuta Kazuki, who asked, why did you end up stopping your trip?
Ah,
mm,
why did we end stopping our trip? Yeah, it's something due to some personal reasons. So
mm.
we
Mhm.
had some personal reasons which we can't explain in this open, and so we had to go and meet the family immediately.
Yes, of course. We'll leave it
But
at that.
at the same time, it was a good ending as well,
It was
because
a
it's
logical ending.
yeah, because it's the end of like Europe, and so so it's
So
kind
it
of
was from the
like as a
extreme
east
east
to
of Asia to extreme. So in Spain, we decided that okay, it's time for us to end our trip, and definitely it was not. It has got nothing to do with the financial reasons. or something.
Yeah.
Because
No.
usually people think, okay,
Mm.
you know what, they're out of money, they want to end the trip. No, that's not true. It was
Nobody wants to
it
give
was
them a yard
definitely
anymore. Nothing. The restaurant is closed. The movie restaurant.
exactly. In fact, our plan when we were still in, I think, in Greece or in
No,
France,
even
was
in Spain.
even in Spain, our plan was from
Go
Portugal, continue towards
to
the north of
yeah,
Europe, go to
and
the
then go
Balkan,
Balkan
and then take the Trans-Siberian Express
Uh-huh.
through Russia,
and then from Rajasthan take ferry to
to
Japan.
Japan, and surprise her parents. That would have been so, but we
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah.
It was due to personal reasons.
Okay, very cool. Well, very cool. Well, we have to give a shout out also to Jordi Sanchez. He's been blowing up the comments over here. He said he opened up a beer earlier to celebrate us three on the screen. He really liked TED Talk. And he also said that they were able to, he also couch surfed at your place. So thank you, Jordi, for tuning in. You and Heck Young out
That's
there and go.
amazing.
They are
Nothing but
amazing
love.
couple. Oh, we love to host them. We have been inviting them to our farm, but they are giving
Yeah,
us excuses.
very, very cool. And then we'll end it here with Jordi's last question. And he asked, what is the first place you want to travel once this whole pandemic is over, or easier, safer to travel?
Okay, let's see. Let's be on a count of three. We will tell the place. Let's see if
Okay.
it's going to be the same or
Yeah.
not. 1, 2, 3. Iran.
Africa.
Okay, I said Iran. She said Africa. Okay, so
There
so
you
we
go.
have. I think it's going to be a long night for us. We're going to have a very heated conversation now.
Very cool. Now we're just starting arguments here. Actually, our last three guests were all from Africa, or the stories were about Africa. One was bicycling through Africa,
Oh.
so good thing to do. One was road tripping through Africa, and the other one was volunteering with the rhinos out there. So it seems like a hidden gem waiting for you guys in Africa if you guys do go there or back to Iran. Sushi and Sambar, I want to thank you guys for coming on today, sharing your story. It was filled with great advice, a lot of journey, a lot of laughter. Thank you guys for sharing your story, and I appreciate it so much.
Oh, thank you for inviting us. This is great.
And it was a
Really.
fantastic takeoff and a smooth landing, Jordan. Thanks a lot for that.
All right. All
Okay,
righty.
and sure.
Ciao.
Cheers. Bye bye.
Okay.
Thank you all for listening to our story.